In the ancient Roman world, marriages differed significantly from our modern understanding. They were primarily seen as transactions, rather than unions based on love. In stark contrast to today's ideals, it was quite common and almost expected for husbands to engage in extramarital affairs. These affairs ranged from casual encounters with prostitutes to more long-term liaisons with other women. Additionally, it was also prevalent for men to have sexual relationships with other men. Welcome to Time Capsule, where we uncover the most astonishing and peculiar facts from human history. Please be aware that some of the topics discussed in this video may be offensive or disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. Sexuality in ancient Rome. The ancient Romans had a different perspective on sex and sexuality compared to our modern understanding. They did not categorize individuals as heterosexual, homosexual, or bisexual. Labels, as we know them today, were absent. Instead, the Romans focused more on the power dynamics within sexual acts. In heterosexual relationships, the man was considered the giver, while the woman was seen as the receiver. This power dynamic positioned the man as the one in control, as the woman submitted to him. However, in relationships between two men, one of them had to assume the role of the receiver, adopting a more submissive and feminine position. One of the most accepted forms of sexual relationships between men was called pederasty. This involved an adult man, known as the aristos, and a teenage boy, known as the arominus. Pederasty was not solely a sexual partnership, but also included a mentorship aspect. The significant age difference between the partners, which we might find problematic today, was not seen as such by the Romans. In fact, within the upper class, pederastic relationships were considered a rite of passage. The young boy had the opportunity to form connections beyond his family and be introduced properly to the senatorial class. When it came to those in positions of power, it was common for them to have both male and female lovers, without either being considered cheating, as we would label it today. In a time when contraceptives did not exist and childbirth was the leading cause of death for women, a man engaging in extramarital affairs served as a form of birth control. At the very least, it allowed a man to seek pleasure without putting his spouse's life at risk. In cases of homosexual relationship, it was expected for the partner holding the higher position, such as the emperor, to assume the role of the giver, which was perceived as more powerful and masculine. However, this was not always the case, and it often perplexed the Roman public when individuals in authoritative positions chose to be the submissive party, which was perceived as feminine. Julius Caesar serves as a prime example of this confusion. Despite being the most influential man in the world and the one who transformed Rome into an empire, he enjoyed assuming the role of the receiver in relationships with men. This aspect of his personal life baffled Roman citizens. How could the man who wielded immense power in the empire relinquish control in the bedroom? Emperor Nero. Typically, emperors sought their lovers from the ranks of palace slaves and often continued to treat them as such. Nero was no exception to this practice and had at least 2 male lovers who were also his slaves. However, Nero went even further in his unconventional treatment of his lovers. One of his lovers, a free slave named Pythagoras, was forced by Nero to participate in a bizarre wedding ceremony. In this peculiar instance, Pythagoras played the role of the groom, while Nero adorned himself with a bridal veil. The public, understandably, found themselves perplexed by the emperor's behavior. After all, Nero held ultimate power and authority, so why wouldn't he assume the expected masculine role? This event was just one example of the confusion surrounding Nero's actions. But Nero didn't stop at just one such ceremony. A few years later, he married another slave boy named Sporus, this time conforming to the masculine role that society expected him to embrace. However, the methods he employed were far more disturbing to our modern sensibilities. Such actions undoubtedly repulse us today. While there are other accounts of Nero's cruelty towards his lovers and concubines, it is essential to approach the historical records with caution. History has painted Nero in a particularly negative light, and it can be challenging to distinguish truth from exaggeration. For instance, one historian from Nero's time falsely claimed that he engaged in an incestuous relationship with his mother. Such accusations, though baseless, were commonly associated with him following his death. If you are enjoying the content so far, then consider liking the video and subscribing. Emperor Tiberius, notorious for his mistreatment of concubines, exemplifies an older man who had a disturbing inclination towards engaging with younger boys. His reputation became associated with even more shocking and repulsive acts that are difficult to recount, let alone believe. He trained young boys, who he identified as toddlers, to crawl between his thighs when he went swimming and tease him with their licks and nibbles, and he would put infants to his organ and let the baby suck his organ like they were sucking the breast, because, by nature and age, he was rather fond of this form of satisfaction in addition to those terrible things. In addition to insisting that the boy sleeps with him, Tiberius would compel them to do so in a number of groupings while he observed and prepared himself to do the same. Emperor Julius Caesar, a figure widely recognized in history, found himself more commonly associated with the role of the penetrated rather than the penetrator in sexual encounters. His sexual proclivities earned him the nickname the bald adulterer. In many ways, Caesar's actions aligned perfectly with the prevailing Roman political stereotype of using sexual relationships as a means to advance his own power. During his youth, Caesar spent a significant period at the court of King Nicomedes of Bithynia. It was here that rumors of an affair began to circulate, painting Caesar as the submissive party in the relationship. These speculations added fuel to the already captivating tales surrounding his personal life. Caesar's reputation in matters of the bedroom has left a lasting impression in history, showcasing the intricate and often scandalous intersections of power, sexuality, and politics during ancient Roman times. Emperor Hadrian. In the realm of Roman emperors, it was not uncommon for them to have male lovers. However, Emperor Hadrian stood out for his distinct and unabashed declaration of his homosexuality. His marriage to Vivia Sabina was purely a political union, devoid of any romantic or physical connection. As a result, the marriage remained unconsummated, and no children were born from their union. Accounts from Hadrian's contemporaries suggested that he treated Sabina with little regard, scarcely elevating her status above that of a slave. Hadrian's lack of interest in women was striking, as his preference clearly leaned towards male companions. He was known to compose erotic poetry dedicated to his young lovers, a testament to his infatuation with them. Historical evidence does not indicate any inclinations towards women on Hadrian's part. One particularly famous love story unfolded between Hadrian and a youth named Antinous. During one of his journeys across the vast Roman Empire, Hadrian encountered a captivating boy named Antinous in the town of Claudiopolis, located in present-day Turkey. Recognizing the potential in Antinous, Hadrian sent him to Italy to receive a proper education. Despite the considerable age difference, with Hadrian being 49 years old and Antinous just 14, a deeply romantic and physical bond blossomed between them. Their love became an inseparable part of their lives. Tragedy struck during their voyage down the River Nile in Egypt as Antinous, now 18 years old, met a mysterious and untimely death by drowning. Hadrian was profoundly affected by the loss of his beloved Antinous. To honor his memory, Hadrian founded the city of Antinopolis, near the place of Antinous' demise. Carrying Antinous' mummified body back to Italy, Hadrian ensured that his lover's image was immortalized through commissioned statues and artwork. Antinous was elevated to the status of a god, and his deification commanded worship across the Roman Empire. Even after Hadrian's passing, the cult of Antinous endured, remaining popular among the Romans as a poignant testament to the enduring love between the emperor and his young lover. So which emperor stood out the most? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Time Capsule for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.